Okay, welcome everybody. I'm just letting a few more people in from the waiting room. So if you just bear with us another moment. All right, I think we will make a start. So good afternoon and welcome everyone to joining our Creative Cruising and NCL presentation. Joining us today, we have Vanessa Green, who's the Business Development Manager for NCL. Just a few quick housekeeping notes. Everyone should be in mute mode for the webinar. If you do have any questions throughout the presentation, please use the chat function, which is located on the bottom of your screen, and we will go through all of these at the end. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Vanessa now so we can all learn more about some of the current trends, the great cruise comeback, and Vanessa's recent experience cruising on NCL, which she was extremely lucky to do. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you for that introduction. I certainly was very, very lucky. And I know that a lot of us are itching to be able to get back to doing what we love the most and traveling again very soon. So hopefully that's on the cards for all of you as well. So as mentioned, my name is Vanessa and I look after New South Wales ACT for Norwegian Cruise Line. And there's actually 4 of us that look after Australia and New Zealand. And we're a really close team, and we've been really lucky to have been working right throughout and have been really close over the last 2 years in making sure that we can stay as top of mind and as supportive as we can for our agent partners throughout this time. I know we've all been on a big journey from credits and refunds, and I know we're still on the tail end of that, to now being in a position where we can really take advantage of a boom or a resurgence in that demand. So hopefully from today, you will be able to take away some information about NCL and that product, but I really didn't want to get bogged down too much in product. If you do want to know some more about the fleet and the destinations that we travel to and get a little bit more in depth of it that way, happy to take that offline. Please reach out to either me or our team or a BDM in your territory, and we can certainly set that up. We are here to partner with you in whatever that looks like, whether it's building your business or actually providing product training. So please do reach out. But today, we did want to talk about NCL's cruise comeback and what that looks like for our brand. So how we're returning to service, where our ships are, and also how we're doing that safely. So the policies and procedures we have in place. And I know from myself talking to clients directly, that is certainly a lot of the questions that we are fielding. And yes, we recognize that it's very dynamic and fast moving, but we need to know where we can get that information and be able to provide that information to our clients as easily and efficiently as possible. So I'll touch on that. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about our business insights. So the trends that we are seeing, especially over the last 6 to 8 weeks or 3-month period, where that revenue is coming in, what destinations are popular, what those inquiries that we're finding nationwide and New Zealand as well, and where people are inquiring about. And so hopefully that might provide you with some insight that you might be able to use in your business. So whether that be proactively reaching out to your clients or handling some of that inquiry or making those suggestions, you can be armed with some great knowledge of the trends that we are seeing. With that information to then be able to talk about NCL, I wanted to talk about some of the USPs or what makes NCL different, and some of that language that you would be able to use with your client to differentiate NCL as a cruise product. There is a place in the market for all of our wonderful industry and the cruise element of that, and who's an NCL passenger and what can they expect on board with us. One of our top selling destinations is Europe. So just, I guess, zoning in a little bit more on why Europe is so popular and how we can talk about that with our clients. New sailings and sales opportunities. Our new Prima class, which is our first new class of ships in 10 years. They look amazing. So I'll pre-warn you now, every time I show those slides and we talk about that, I get very excited to be traveling again on our new ships. And then to wrap it up with our partners first philosophy. So what's in it for you, how we support you personally and you in your business, and what opportunities we have there, so our rewards and resources. And then I'll hand back over to talk about some of the packages that are available and some of the other resources that we have with Creative as well. So hopefully you'll find this valuable and be able to draw on some of these resources in your business. And as I said, any questions, please pop them in the chat. If I can't answer them today, I will get the answer back to you, or we can set up a time to do a little bit more in-depth product training or discuss those opportunities for your particular business. So the Great Cruise Comeback, as we're calling it, which I love, We've relaunched 15 vessels so far. At the moment, we currently have a fleet of 17. So therefore, we have 2 more to launch. And that's the Norwegian Sun, which is launching very soon in a month out of Seattle, Washington. And we also have a couple of days later, the Norwegian Spirit, which will be sailing in Tahiti. The Spirit is actually pretty close to my heart because she'll be the one that's sailing into Sydney Harbour in December. And I know that we've got a ship coming back into Sydney Harbour on Easter Monday. So there'll be much fanfare and a lot of excitement, I'm really sure. But Norwegian Spirit actually just underwent a renovation or refurbishment just before COVID hit. So it was over $100 million invested into that ship. She sailed 3 times and then we all know what happened next. So that ship is practically brand new for guests to sail on and is absolutely beautiful. And is what's a little bit different about her in regard to our fleet is she's a bit smaller than our Breakaway Plus and Breakaway class ships and our New Prima class ships. Rather than being over 3,000, between 3,000 and 3,900 berth, double occupancy, she sits at just under 2,200. So I think that really fills a gap in the Australian market for those looking for that slightly smaller ship experience. And she'll be sailing Sydney to New Zealand itineraries and then New Zealand back to Sydney. NCL is certainly a fly cruise model, which presents a great opportunity for you all in building packages for your guests and being able to add different elements into your clients' trips. And Norwegian Spirit is certainly no different to that. It's very adult-centric, so there isn't a go-kart on the roof and there's no kids' clubs on Spirit, but she certainly provides laid-back luxury for that adult traveller in mind. So I really think it's going to appeal to Australian cruisers incredibly, and I think that it will fill a bit of a gap in that market for that size of ship as well and for those itineraries. You can see on that picture there, that's me in the green dress at the front with my team. We sailed on Norwegian Encore. So going from one of our smaller ships with Spirit, Encore is actually currently one of our largest ships in our Breakaway Plus class. And her occupancy is about 3,900. And she's our current newest ship before we launch our new ship in August. But she was absolutely beautiful. And we were lucky enough to be sent over to Miami. And from Miami, we boarded Encore and sailed the Virgin Islands and the Bahamas and came back into Miami after a 7-night cruise. And to be able to have had that experience in a post-COVID world and what that meant for going through the airports and getting from Sydney to Miami was no mean feat in the midst of that, with 3 different flights for us on that particular trip, to then going to the port and having to go through that boarding process with all those new COVID protocols in mind, and experiencing that firsthand. I can tell you we had a folder full of paperwork and extra copies, and we checked the regulations so many times. And actually, it was a really easy and quite seamless process, especially once we had the help of the Norwegian staff in the port in Miami. And the communication was excellent from the time we downloaded the app and uploaded and did the pre-embarkation checks on our phones or our laptops right through to boarding. We had to do a PCR test in the port, which that regulation's even changed in the last 4 months. But it was really well communicated and quite seamless all the way through. Once we were on board, communication was really easy. Testing was available at that time. It was a requirement for us to come home. So they made that available and facilitated that on board as well. So I know that the policies continue to evolve and develop and will be in line with the regions that we're traveling in and the regulations that we're have to be adhered to, but I can tell you that you can have peace of mind in sending your clients to travel with Norwegian, because it was certainly a fantastic and easy experience, and we felt very well communicated with and informed throughout that entire experience. In getting the actual nuts and bolts of that information, so our sail-safe policies, my absolute recommendation would be to head to that website on the bottom of the slide there, which is just ncl.com/sail-safe. Anything that changes is always up to date there first. So you can refer clients directly there so guests can check that themselves, and we can certainly use that as a reference material there as well. On our Norwegian Central Agent portal, that information also exists, and it's downloadable as a toolkit or PDF form as well. So if you did need that, you would be able to download it if you did want to print out and go through it. But otherwise, in a dynamic environment, definitely the website is certainly the most secure place to get that information, or reliable place to get that information. But in terms of what our sales safe policy looks like, it's right from the minute that you book and pre-embarkation through to safety on board our ships and ashore on our shore excursions as well. So making sure that we are up to date with all of the requirements and the testing and vaccination requirements and our health and safety screening and protocols on board at embarkation and on board the ships as well. If you wanted to get into the nitty gritty, I can certainly send you a PDF with what the medical grade of the filters are and all of that sort of stuff. We do have that information. I know it does get information overload sometimes. So you just need to know where to go to get those resources and have peace of mind that they are available to you as well. If you do have questions, please pop them in the chat and I'll come back to them at the end in regard to any of this information, but certainly would refer you back to that SailSafe section of the NCL website. So I wanted to take you through some of our booking insights, so where we're seeing the inquiry come through, and this is across our trade distribution channels, but also across some of our inbound and outbound calls, and that can be from website inquiry through to telephone. But I think it's really great to have this kind of oversight, or being able to have a look at what the inquiry level looks like and to see these trends, because I certainly think that it can influence what you're recommending and putting out to market to your client databases as well. So you can see here that we've broken it down to the last 7 and 14 days, then looking at a broader 3-month trend, and then over the last 6 months as well. And you can certainly see a shift there, that as the regulations have changed, especially with our domestic cruising, that we are seeing a little bit of an influx or a pickup in people ready to commit or willing to say, yes, I feel confident in sailing in 2022 now. We certainly have had the majority of our bookings happening in 2023. So people feeling that, yes, the regulations are changing and we can see that there will be a post-COVID world and we will be living with it and traveling again. We're more confident to pay our deposit and commit to a sailing in 2023. And you can see that over the last 12 months, that was 64% of our business. But over time, we've certainly seen, and especially in the last couple of weeks since those announcements have been made, that the confidence is returning to make those last minute bookings to still sail in 2022 and take advantage of being able to do that again. We're also seeing pretty consistent level for 2024. And the reason that it doesn't actually add up to 100% in those columns is that we're actually even now seeing bookings into 2025 as well, unbelievably. Our Hawaii itineraries on Pride of America have now opened into 2025. And there are just a few here and there, which is pretty mind-blowing to me that we're already talking about that. But it's certainly, that's a benefit of cruise, right? That you can, and your clients can have that peace of mind to lock away their holiday plannings and book that one piece of their puzzle early and build around that as time goes on. And those that are willing to travel sooner certainly have that opportunity as well. When we look at what our products are in terms of those different sailings, especially in the last 2 weeks, Hawaii has stepped up. In the last week especially, it is our our biggest selling single destination. Pride of America is the ship that we have that sails in Hawaii. She sails every Saturday. She is an under 3,000 berth ship as well, so slightly smaller, and takes in 4 islands, has 2 overnight stays and no sea days. So it really is about maximizing the onshore experience as much as possible and being able to see that and having the comfort of only having to unpack once and do that and travel between the islands on board the beautiful cruise ship as well, but still being able to have a lot of time ashore and be able to get as much out of those destinations as possible. Hi there, if you're just joined on, pop yourself on mute, and if you do have any questions, please pop them in the chat. I'm more than happy to come back at the end for that, no problem. You can see here as well that the Mediterranean, so Northern Europe and the Med, I've just broken out here. So overall, Europe is our biggest selling destination if you do couple that together. But when we do break it out, the Med certainly stands out as one of our top selling destinations. We'll touch on our new ships coming with Prima and Viva, and they're sailing in those regions in August this year, and the second ship Viva in June 2023. So we've certainly seen that there's been great demand on that, which has pushed those numbers up in terms of why so many people are booking there. But in the Mediterranean, Northern Europe, so the Baltics, but that's also Iceland as well, and around the UK. And our close to home sailings come in at number 4. And so we've got, as I said, mentioned Spirit will be here in December. She will do a season until the end of March, doing Sydney to New Zealand and then New Zealand back to Sydney. And then from there, we'll go back through the South Pacific up to Alaska to do the opposite end of the season in Alaska before returning back to Sydney to do 2023-2024 summer season, doing those similar AU-NZ itineraries, but for a slightly longer season. So rather than coming in the December, we'll come a little bit earlier. Alaska is consistent for us, as well as some other really unique and great itineraries in Asia. One of our top destinations is Japan, and we do an incredible circumnavigation of Japan, including Busan in South Korea. That's been really popular for April next year with the cherry blossom season. And a lot of repo cruises, especially, for example, Dubai to Athens has been really popular. And seeing a little bit of an uptick in the Caribbean and out of LA down to the Mexican Riviera as well, which has been really interesting to see. If we have a look at when our guests are wanting to travel, we can certainly see there, if you look at that middle line or the slightly bigger percentages, you can see that the top selling quarter is Q3 of 2023, but Q1 and 2 at 14 and 15%, you can see that that's definitely where the majority of the business is going. But up a bit is some of those 2022 sailings as well. And we're starting to see Q1 into 2024 creep up as well. So just think that this is just quite interesting, and you'd probably be able to relate to this in regard to the booking inquiries that you're getting, not for cruise, but I guess for all different inquiries and types of and forms of travel as well. So now that we know where guests are wanting to travel and when they're wanting to do that, and we want to talk about why would you travel with NCL, I thought I'd summarize a few talking points that would make it easy to give you some of that language. NCL, in terms of where we sit in the market, is a premium contemporary cruise. We certainly want to be at the top of that contemporary band. Having just come back from Encore, I can certainly, and having traveled on a number of other contemporary cruise lines, I can certainly say my experience was definitely that my time on Encore was at the top of that contemporary band. That history of innovation means pushing the boundaries and offering something new and different. Things like having the race car on the roof, more digital innovation on board, which I'll show you a little bit with our Prima class as well. But more importantly, it is about freedom and flexibility on NCL as well. So designing your own cruise, there's no dining times, there's no set formal nights or different requirements once you're on board. It's your guest holiday after all. They can do what they want when they want. So we call it freestyle cruising because it really is up to the guest how they want to do that. So what that actually looked like in reality, the app was so easy to use on board. Anything that we wanted to do, we could just plug it into that app. Did we want to see the early show, the late show, the comedy? What time did we want to go to dinner? Did we want to do go-karts before we went and had a drink a bit later? It was also easy on our app. And if that's not where your clients are at, there's touchscreens around the ship. You can do it on your TV. You can do it on your phone. You can go and see the concierge. Your ship steward can help you. So it's very, very easy to do that. And there were some days where we just didn't book anything at all and just turned up, and that was absolutely acceptable as well. And we went with the flow. So really, that freestyle cruising was certainly something that I really saw in real life and was really allowed me just to go with the flow and really enjoy my time and experience on that. I didn't feel like I was clock watching, always having to check where I needed to be or what was happening. We sailed to over 300 destinations across all 7 continents. So we're even sailing to Antarctica. And we have some really interesting repositioning cruises, which you saw on that booking insights slide, have a lot of traction as well. And because we do have a fleet of 17 at the moment, but soon to be more ships of varying sizes, they can actually visit different ports. So in Alaska, for example, we have 5 different ships, some of our Breakaway Plus larger super ships, but some of the smaller ships as well. So the ports, if you have clients that are interested in getting to specific ports, certainly keep NCL in mind to have a look at those different itineraries, because there's certainly a lot of variety on that. We offer unique experiences on board our ships that can cater to all different kinds of travelers. So we have the Haven, which is the exclusive enclave on board our ships, where you have a butler service and the exclusive lounge and the bar and there's sun deck and the pool. And they in the Haven, you can have up to 3 bedrooms or a 2-bedroom garden villa with a jacuzzi. So if you want that luxury small ship experience, you certainly can have it in that exclusive enclave, but you get all the beautiful and immersive and extensive facilities of the rest of the ship, which is great for multi-generational travel, we find. We also have the go-karts in the Galaxy Pavilion, which is a theme park that's all virtual reality. Incredible shows, kids clubs, the water parks that can take everyone in the whole family. The ropes course at sea. On our new Prima class, we'll have digital darts experiences and mini golf experiences. So certainly something for the whole family. But then even solo travelers, we have a really unique studio, solo studios. And what that means is that there's minimal or no single supplement to your clients that are traveling in those solo suites. And that, like the Haven, where it's an exclusive enclave, a similar concept is employed for solo travelers as well, where you need a key card to enter, and it's a common area or a common lounge where we do functions or evening canapes or a bar there, where your client, if traveling solo, will have the opportunity to meet other solo travelers or like-minded travelers and have the opportunity to make friends or even just get to know some familiar faces around the ship as well. And it's a cost-effective solution for those that don't like being stung by that single supplement fee when traveling solo. And then beyond the guest or the customer experience, what it is to work with NCL as a business partner, we're really committed to your success as well. And I'm going to touch on this a little bit later with our partners' first philosophy and what that actually means. But certainly rest assured that the reward and incentive element is there, but also the business support element is there, from training to co-op to whatever other opportunities present themselves in your businesses. NCL is a business and a brand that wants to work with you to be able to realize those opportunities. So drilling down a little bit deeper and looking at Europe with NCL, certainly an opportunity to see more of Europe with some amazing itineraries in the north. And as I said, that also is around the UK to Iceland and the Orkney Islands and that sort of thing, the Norwegian fjords, etc., as well as all through the Med as well. We actually, for 2020, for this upcoming European summer season, so 2022, we'll actually have 10 ships in the Med for this summer and next summer with over 100 different itineraries. So that's more than what we've ever had before. So certainly an opportunity to find what is right for your client, and lots of different options that are open door as well. So that's great for building that pieces of the puzzle itineraries for your clients that may want to start in Rome but finish in Barcelona or up in Southampton, etc. And as I said, having 10 different ships there in a season means that there's a variety of that smaller ship experience that get into some of those smaller ports, to having the bigger ships with the more broad range of facilities and onboard experiences as well. Immersive experiences in port with a great Shore X program. And when we have our free at sea, which I'll touch on point 5 here, free at sea for us is lots of value add for your client, one of which is the Shore Excursions credit in each port. So your client actually does have a benefit in where they visit, especially in Europe, with lots of different things to take up there. And when we talk about value with free at sea, it is a premium beverage package. It is free Wi-Fi. It's the specialty dining credit. It's the Shore Excursions credit. And it's also third and fourth guest salad at a reduced rate. So it's all 5 free at sea. And it just means that when we're talking about what that per day cost is, or what the overall cost for your client, what value they're getting. And so using that as, it's not a discounted or budget or bargain basement price, say, oh, it's $2.99 for 5 days or whatever it might be. The price is, when we break down what the value of what your client is getting, it is actually, with the beverage package and the specialty dining, it is value for money, and being able to communicate that really well. Certainly having that free at sea package when I travelled wasn't, I didn't have to put my hand in my pocket to pay for anything additional. Sure, if you're in Alaska and you wanted to do a shore excursion that was a helicopter up over the glacier, that would be more than what the shore excursion credit might be in that particular port. But then if you wanted to stay within that credit, you absolutely could do that and do a walking tour or a local culinary tour of the destination that we're in, and that would fit there. So your client can make that choice for themselves, but certainly great value in having that as well. So lots of new sailings and destinations and new bits of information for us, as well as we're coming back online in the Great Cruise Comeback. 35 different departure points across the globe, which gives amazing flexibility to build out those amazing itineraries for your clients. We have 2 new to brand home port destinations. So we'll actually have a ship home ported in Haifa, Israel, which is great for those real Eastern Med sailings. There's some that go from Athens to Haifa. Again, we can go down to Dubai from there as well, which is amazing. And also in the Dominican Republic as well. And they're home port destinations, let alone just other stops on our itineraries as well. I'm lucky enough to be hosting a famille in May, and we'll be leaving out of Rome. But for the first time NCL this season, we're going to Corsica. So I'll be on board one of the ships that gets to visit there. So I'm really excited about being able to do that, but lots of new itineraries and new stops on those itineraries as well. As I mentioned, we've got a new class of ship launching in August, our first ship in August, our second in June next year, and they're Norwegian Prima and Viva, and they'll be doing in European summer, they'll be doing Northern Europe and the Med, as I mentioned. So there's lots of opportunity for clients that want something fresh, something new, something different, something a bit elevated, to be able to do that there. But the other thing that's really interesting to keep in mind for those new ships is that in Northern Hemisphere winter, they'll actually be home ported in Galveston, Texas, and in Puerto Rico. So that's something really different and unusual. If you've got clients that are really looking to do something beyond what might have been, oh yeah, we'll fly into LA or we'll go to Miami, they're actually really wanting to tick off some amazing bucket list things and do Puerto Rico, but take in a cruise as well, that would be a great opportunity as well. And our close to home Australia, New Zealand sailings and the South Pacific itineraries on board Spirit. As I said, she has had a beautiful refurb and is pretty much brand new inside, only had a few sailings. So I know that our Australian market will certainly look at that as an incredible opportunity to have that laid back luxury adult centric experience. And those itineraries are unique as well, because they're not the same. So she's doing 7 different sailings and all of them are slightly different. So if you have got clients that may have done a New Zealand sailing before, I would certainly encourage you, if they are looking at doing something closer to home, don't discount that, because there are different itineraries and different ports and different things to see as well. So definitely encourage you to look at that. So as I mentioned, Prima class will be launching. These you can see Prima on the left and Viva on the right. They are sister ships, so they are same fit out and specs inside. But just a few little points about Prima and Viva. Prima August this year, Northern Europe, Viva June 2023 in the Med, but it really is an evolution of the NCL brand. This is our first new class in 10 years. The tenets or the foundations of what this new class were all about were already well and truly decided before the pandemic. And it just so happens that the thought process or the conceptual design of this new class of ships is exactly what everyone's going to be looking for coming off the back of what we've all just experienced over the last 2 years, because it's all about wide open spaces and really thoughtful design in that. So what I mean by that is these ships are a similar tonnage and a similar size to our current largest ship, which is our Norwegian Encore that I showed you the picture of earlier. Norwegian Encore has a double occupancy capacity of just over 3,900 guests. Prima and Viva could have the same. However, because of that design and wanting to invest in the wide open public spaces, but also the most spacious suites and cabins at sea, we'll actually only have a capacity of 3,200. So that's more space for those that are sailing on board these ships. The guest to staff ratio will be the best at sea for that contemporary band. Lots of elevated experiences. These images are of the staterooms, and the top left is a balcony stateroom. The top right is an ocean view. You can see on the bottom right, that is a suite. What I love is the bottom middle picture, which is just our ocean view cabin balcony, but it's a proper step-in shower, a rectangular shower. The marble splashback behind the sink there, really elevating all of the design elements, modern, comfortable, contemporary, making it have a feel more of a boutique hotel, and really pushing the boundaries and wanting to make sure that we cement ourselves as the top of that contemporary category. So certainly the most spacious accommodations for any new cruise ship build, more spacious suites of any contemporary or premium, and more cabin categories as well. There's 13 different suite categories, and even right down to the solo suites, which there are 73 on board Prima and Viva. So those no single supplement cabins that I mentioned before, but balcony, ocean view and interior are the largest we've had and will be the largest at sea for that category of cruise ship, and the largest bathrooms as well. So I certainly think that just that accommodation perspective is a selling point for that new class of ship. But also what that wide open spaces mean, this is a great example, is our Ocean Boulevard. So on our Breakaway and Breakaway Plus class ships, you can see the schematic of that on the bottom. We have the waterfront, and the waterfront wraps almost the way around the ship, but it has a combination of alfresco dining and some common areas, some bars. That was on board Encore, and I had a great time. I loved it. You could go in and out of all of the different dining and drinking venues. It was really immersive. It was fantastic, and you felt like that the outside really came inside. That's the bottom. That's the one I went on. And then I look at what's on the top there, the Ocean Boulevard, and I think this is going to be a whole new level, so much more extra space. The clever design with the rounded aft of the ship or the back, that will be an indulge food hall. So not a traditional buffet. It will actually be going similar to food trucks or to the Chelsea market as if you would be in New York. So lots of different culinary opportunities there, and that's all complimentary, breakfast, lunch and dinner. There are certain experiences that you would be able to have at certain venues of a night that may incur an upcharge, but if you or client didn't want to do that, you didn't have to. It's all complimentary. There are complimentary options, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And if we have a look at some of the images there as well, on the top left there, you can see the Vibe Beach Club. The top right is the complimentary main dining room Hudson, which I just think looks beautiful in connecting with the either the sea or the destination that we would be in. All the blues is our elevated teppanyaki experience now, so less of the kitschy fun, novelty element and wanting to refine that dining experience. The bottom right there with the infinity pools is on both sides of that Ocean Boulevard. The infinity beach there with the lounges, but then the pool, that's on deck 8, and it's the closest infinity pool of any cruise ship build, where it's wanting to connect you to the horizon, connect to the wide open space, the ocean, or the destination. Imagine being in Norway in the fjords and in that infinity pool, just looking out at the scenery. I think it looks amazing. Or perhaps where you might find me is the bottom left there, in those lounges with the fire pits, having a cocktail, and that's at the back of that indulge food hall as well. So hopefully some of these images just give you a little bit of an idea of how we're really elevating in Norwegian Prima and Viva, and there'll actually be more of that class of ships being announced. There'll be one every year for the next 5 years, which I think is remarkable. This particular one, the top 2 images there are the different stations in the food hall. We've got the Commodore in the middle there, which is another complimentary dining room. The bottom left is Los Lobos, the Mexican Cantina. I can attest that was one of my favorite restaurants. They made a guac. They brought a big dumbwaiter trolley out in front of us, and they made the guac as we wanted it right in front of us, which is amazing. And the bottom right is Onda by Scarpetta, which is one of our signature restaurants. If you might have heard Scarpetta, it's in New York, it's in Rio and London. They've actually got an outlet on board our ships as well, and it is a beautiful Italian restaurant. And it's not just the food and beverage or the dining. The other experiences on board are certainly elevated. An incredible 3-story theatre that transforms. One of the amazing other things of NCL that is certainly a talking point with clients is the entertainment on board. If you're in New York or if you're in London, you want to go to the West End or Broadway and see a show, and then you come home and it becomes part of your holiday story, and it's almost like bragging rights. I saw Kinky Boots on Broadway or whatever. We have that on NCL, and we really pride ourselves on having those Broadway quality shows. So on Encore, I saw Kinky Boots and Choir of Man. Choir of Man did a season last year at the Opera House. We have 6 on board, which is just finishing at the Opera House before it heads around Australia. But we have Donna Summer, the musical, that will be on board Prima, Jersey Boys, Kinky Boots, Burn the Floor, lots of incredible entertainment on board. The Sculpture Garden on board Prima and Viva will be incredible, and all the lighting is in tune with the time of day as well. So depending when you walk around the Ocean Boulevard, it will change. The digital part on board, no cheating because it's all digital, and of course our incredible racetrack as well. So now 3 stories instead of 2 stories and up to 45 kilometers an hour. So much fun. That was such a pinch me moment to be sailing out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands on board with my team, driving in one of the go-karts, and it actually swings out off the side, and there's a big glass wall, and the sun was setting, and I could see the Caribbean here, and I'm driving this go-kart, and I've got my colleagues and my friends on board. I thought, this is just a pinch me moment. Is this my life? It was absolutely incredible. So I can certainly attest that is a remarkable experience to have on board. So certainly hope that this given you a little bit of a taste of where the NCL brand is going. I know that obviously with Spirit being refurbed, the smaller ships certainly have a vision and the type of experience we want a more adult-centric demographic to have. but certainly that Prima class where they are still those bigger ships, slightly less people to really ensure that great experience on board, service ratio, and beautiful accommodations and experiences, a lot to talk about there. In terms of what that means for you, communicating that with your clients, we've got a Prima and Viva lookbook or mini brochure coming out in the next 2 weeks. So if you think there might be an opportunity to get that into the hands of some of your clients, please reach out, because we would love to be able to help you to do that. And I guess that's a great segue to talk about Partners First pillars for our business. So as I said at the beginning, it really is something that's really important to NCL, is to remain as partner focused as we possibly can. So investing back in you and your business. So tools to help you grow your business, helping you resource things like direct mail outs or EDMs or boosting social posts, or whatever that happens to look like. Making sure we can communicate with you easily and give you opportunities to educate on our brand and the opportunities to sell, but also be rewarded as well. And I'll touch on that on the next slide. But you can also rest assured that not only is it an investment in you and your business and our partnership, but we continue to invest in our brand, to have a new class of ships and having them launch one ship for the next 5 years, to have 6 new ships. Each ship's $1 billion. It's a massive investment. We're building things like in Icy Strait Point in Alaska. We partnered with the local Indigenous community there to create a brand new port for us to visit there that can support the local economy there, that they can, that's an entirely Indigenous community there. So that's just one example of how we're investing in the destinations and in our fleet. And I'm sure that you would all recognize, if you read Travel Daily or if you're scrolling on YouTube or Instagram, NCL promotion and advertising hasn't stopped either. There's an investment there that we are committed to continuing. And improve systems and processes. So wanting to make sure that you can easily log on to Norwegian Central and have the social tiles or the flyers and have them be editable and have them all at your fingertips is something that's really important to us as well. Not only that, the then investment in our guest experience. And I've spoken a little about my experience as a guest, and certainly can attest that that was second to none. So absolutely amazing with that. So as I said, Partners First, and this is one of my last ones before I wrap up, but our Partners First program, every booking, it's every sailing, no matter what cabin or what category, is eligible for Partners First rewards points. 1 point equals $1. So you can see here each month the different promotions change. So you can see here, if you were to book a balcony in Europe, for example, it would be 35 points. This particular promotion this month, it's double rewards on Australia and New Zealand. So it would actually be 70 points. 70 points is $70. So $70 would buy me a lot at Dan Murphy's. I'd be pretty happy with that. If you book 2 cabins on that same sailing for a family traveling together, suddenly that's $140 that would be paid to you the following month. So in a time now where we're rebuilding our business, and it's great to see that come back, but oftentimes we're paying a deposit now and not seeing that commission or that level come, or that payment come until the time of travel. These sort of incentives and other rewards can certainly be incredibly valuable and helpful, and certainly encourage you to use the tools here for you to leverage that as much as possible. If you do not have a Partners First login, please feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll pop that in the chat at the end, or we can circulate that easily, and our sales support can get you set up on that. It's very, very easy to do. You also need to be registered on Partners First Rewards if you would like to come with me for lunch in Sydney in December or January to do a ship inspection, or if you'd like to register for a famil, or if you'd like agent mates or anything like that. This is the portal, this is the place to do that. And we really want to make sure that we can give back, because we know that supporting you, but also then giving you opportunities to see our ships and travel with us will also create advocates for our brand as well. So we're certainly very committed in doing that. So that's Partners First Rewards as one of the programs. We also have Norwegian Central, which is the agent portal. So from there, you can log on to NCLU, which is our university. One quick thing I would say about that is that you don't have to sit through PowerPoint presentations or anything like that. You would choose which course you want to do, and it's just a tile that you click on. You scroll down and read the information you like. But the best thing about that for me is at the bottom, there's actually a PDF that you can download, and it's usually a double-sided PDF on Norwegian Spirit, for example. And it would have little thumbnails of all of the dining options. It would have little thumbnails of the accommodations. It would have a little table of the specs and the tonnage and the capacities of the ship. And it's actually client facing as well. So I know that we'd all get those clients from time to time that would say, oh, but how many tons is that? And what's the service ratio? And what's this? you can get that really easily, and it's already in a beautifully formatted, customer facing collateral piece that you can download really easily. So just remember that anything that you need information on the destination or the ships, NCLU is the university, just click on the Learn tab on our agent portal, and that's really easy to find. We also have our promotional toolkits there. So if you are looking after your social channels or doing EDMs or anything like that, every month, actually more often than every month, we're updating that. So it'll be updated with our current promotional offer or our call to action, but it'll also have extra things. So for example, this month we've just uploaded a series on Spirit, because obviously with the change in government regulations and the return of domestic or close to home cruising, that's on everyone's mind at the moment. So we want to make sure those resources were available. Last month we updated our Hawaii, because that was something that we were getting a lot of traction on. So lots and lots of material there that you can change your call to action on and distribute as you need to. Partners First Rewards, you can log in any bookings there to get your points and your benefits there and redeem those points. Very, very easy. All the other stuff there is all the normal stuff that you would see on an agent portal. And of course, you can book cruises there, and I think that's probably the most important thing. Please feel free to call our res team. We've upstaffed our res team. We have a 4-second wait time at the moment. They are there to help you. They can't wait to start taking more and more phone calls, and it's getting busier and busier, which is just so fantastic to see and hear. And we're waiting to be able to help you if you need it. But otherwise, when we talk about packages and being able to build that, you certainly can do that and get some great bang for your buck in working with creatives. I'm going to pass back over to, that's sort of it for me. I'll check out the chat while I pass it back over to talk about some of the packages, and can come back at the end and say goodbye.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vanessa. So on the screen here, you'll be able to see the 4 amazing packages that we have at the moment with NCL. So we do have 3 that are in Europe, the Med, and then we've also got 1 for Hawaii. So all of these packages are actually 2023 departures. Not sure what happened there. They're all 2023 departures, and they are valid through until the end of May. So all of our packages do always include full service airlines. These ones have got the 4 beautiful NCL ships. They also include 4 free at sea offers, accommodation, transfers, and more. So these packages have got amazing extra value, some of them up to $2,229 per person. All of our social media tiles are always on our website as well. So we'll always have a social media tile which will correspond and match with one of these packages. You can find those on our site by going to Agent Tools Social Tiles. And for any of those people that do have a white label with us, your clients can actually have a look on your own website and see all of these packages as well, and then have a look how amazing they are and get in contact with you to make the booking. So that's very briefly about all the packages. Did we have any questions, anyone, to go into the chat function at all?
If not, I'll pop my email into the chat. So please note that down if you do need that. And I'm more than happy for you to email me directly with anything, and I can certainly help you out or point you in the right direction.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much, Vanessa, and thank you everyone for attending. I know that Prima or Viva are both on my bucket list because they just look amazing. So
tell me about it. I can't wait. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.